everyone, it's me again, Can No Name, and I know it's been a while. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't really have an excuse. I was just ill, and then in recovery for quite a lot of it. So it has been a long time. I've quite missed doing it. So I was like, why not get back into it now? So I did. Yeah, today we're gonna just be playing some ballads. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't even know. But no, that's what I'm thinking we're gonna be playing for. I don't even know however long we'll be playing it for. Wait, I'm just gonna make sure it's all gonna be running okay. Because I don't really want it to be... Oh, do not want to get rid of that. I want to make sure that it's not gonna be too... I don't think you can change the graphics, can you? Display, that's it. I don't think you can. Okay, well that's fun to know. That's good to know. I really wanted to like make an outfit for it, but I was like, unfortunately I was running out of time. I mean, I could have tried making one on the Aurora Studio, but it's one of those things. So you've got to find it. Although I can't even draw on there, so I would literally just be like changing colours of clothes that is free to use on there. Or I mean, it would have been fun. I definitely do want to know how like other people do it, because it is interesting, you know. I definitely want to try it, so I'll definitely have to do that. Alright, so I really haven't played this game before. I've just like read... I think what got me was like its description on Steam actually, which is why I don't even... Wait, let me see. Time played 0 minutes. Yeah, I know, I'm on it right now. Wait, does it show you? Alright, lol. Let's see. Store page. Oh. When a sarcastic bard is arrested and exiled to an abandoned castle, she expected to be at the mercy of hungry, bloodthirsty vampire. She soon discovers that the vampire, Lucius, is not starving. Wow. He's gravely bored. She may just have to survive on borrowed time, one ballad each midnight. So a ballad is just a song, isn't it? Oh, okay, let's go off of that now. But yeah, I've never played it before. I was like watching a walkthrough earlier on, but then I started watching do you know In the Quarry? I don't even know what it's called. Is it In the Quarry? The Quarry. It looks pretty good, but I feel like this is a scary game, you know? It's like, what do you want? The best of two evils, you know? So we're gonna turn it down a little bit. But yeah, just put it in the chat if it's too loud. Yeah, so I'm literally just gonna be playing this now. Alright, let's go. Okay. Prelude to Dawn, right? My wrists itch. My stomach is churning and empty. My legs are sore. The swath of hemmed fabric, strung taut around my cheeks and tied in a knot behind my head, is chafing against the corners of my mouth. There's a bitterness on my tongue. I'd idly wonder if it's the taste of regret. My two armoured escorts ride ahead of me, exchanging hushed words. I make a short, unhappy noise to contribute to the conversation. They ignore me. Wow. But are you sure, sir? Really, are you? Shouldn't we stop and make camp before sundown, sir? The younger guardsman is jittery and demanding, with a stooped posture that reminds me of a rat. His round face is marred by pockmarks and worry lines. No need, we're making good time. The other guard, as old and large as a cavern wall, has a deep, crusty voice, well suited to his frame. I once saw him struggle to fit through a door. The pock-marked guard glances towards the horizon line, gritting his teeth. But sir, enough. We'll be rid of her today. Be rid of me? Like being rid of some piss-stained rug. How rude. What did I ever do to warrant such objectification? Feeling vexed, I continued to groan and yowl against the hemp between my mouth. I was gonna say, she got like, I don't know. It's inarticulate and far from the most graceful sound I've ever made, but I make it sound increasingly urgent. Noise and more noise. One of them pulls the reins of his horse, dismounting with a dull armoured clatter like a rattling dish cabinet. It's the younger one, good. He approaches me, muttering swears as he reaches back to yank the gag from my head. Yeah, that's the word, gag. What? Convict? What is it now? Wait, what? She's a convict? Oh yeah, 'cause she's exiled, isn't she? Most people buy me a drink before they bring out the gag ring. You're all ingrates, you hear me? Low-browed, barbaric boneheads, the whole lot of you start screaming. Nah, we're gonna do the wing. Most people buy me a drink before they bring out the gag. Stop it. He hisses the words low under his breath. Through his ears glow a treacherous shade of tomato red. It wasn't funny the first time, it won't be funny the next time. There won't even be a next time at this rate we're going. I say it again pretty fast, I think. God, so you really haven't learned your lesson. What's wrong with you? He almost sounds amazed. If my hands were untied, I'd twirl my wrist and do a curtsy. So instead I sidle up to him, reaching out to brush my knuckles near his waistband. What's wrong, I wager? You know exactly what. Wait there. I'm gonna just lower my voice a little bit, because... What's wrong? I wager you know exactly what's wrong. I was under the impression we'd moved past ritualistic sacrifice as a civilization, you see. I thought we were better than all this. Wait, I'm just gonna... Yet here you are, knuckleheads, dragging me through the woods to feed me to a godforsaken vampire. I stomp on a branch when I get close enough. The ensuing crack obscures the sound as I unsheath the dagger from his belt. I palm it under my sleeves in a quick motion. Why did they have to use that word? Hoping my ruse goes unnoticed. The guards stumble away from me. He draws his sword to keep me at bay, snarling. You keep away, you heretic. Don't come near me. I raise my bound wrists in front of my chest, widening my eyes to look appropriately frightened. And I still have his dagger. By the time he clambers back onto his horse, his older companion extends his arm and smacks the back of young guardsman's head. Idiot, now we have to listen to her belly yatching for the rest of the journey. Do we? The younger guard rubs his head, sounding defensive. She calls nothing but trouble. Why not slit her throat and be done with it? Let the wildlife take care of the remains. Ah. The old guard hits him again. I'd find humour in this slapstick routine if they weren't discussing my imminent demise. Shush, boy, we carry Her Majesty's orders to the letter. You and I, no shortcuts. You know the severity of our laws. Underhanded practice will cost you your damn hands. The pockmarked guard hunches further at the shoulders. His eyes dart around like he wants to argue, but he begrudgingly clamps his mouth shut. I, on the other hand, have a dogged pendant for making my observations known, and I'm blessed with quick retorts. Or it's just cross the fingers if you're lucky. I noticed the wise old man here is missing a digit or two. I raise my restrained palms, wiggling my fingers. They glower balefully at me. I've seen actual battlefields, harlot. Do not liken me to your crooked, bar-brawling ilk. Convict, heretic, and now harlot. Wonderful. I roll my eyes and wrinkle my nose at him. I'll bet anything that the old man is lying. Illuvia hasn't waged any wars in the past half-century. Furthermore, he's boasted to my jailers that he's been assigned to this post for the brunt of his service to the crown. Oh, back. But I know better than to push my luck with him. He's more prone to violence than the other guardsmen. I used to lag behind at the start of our journey, defiant and stubborn. The old one never hesitated to yank the ropes around my wrists, lurching me right into brambles and sharp stones. Defying him, I learned meant having scraped palms and knees at best. I mean, that's good. At least they're not, awful. Our pace carefully slows when we cross over a mossy log in a series of thick, tangled roots. For the horse's sake, of course, rather than mine. I work my jaw in silence for a while, keeping a measured distance behind them. Me, a prisoner? My grip on the dagger is unwieldy and clumsy. Aiming it towards my bonds is trickier than I imagined. I flinch as a pointed tip jabs against my inner arm, but shoot the guards a winning smile when they turn to look at me. That would be painful. Oh wait, I keep doing that. It's a good old curse, Forresty. Did you volunteer to escort prisoners through the blighted brush? Or was it an inherited post? Fathers and such? The pockmarked guard scoffs and mimics my words under his breath. Nothing can fear in these old woods, lass, not if you're properly armed. Nothing but bears and wolves. People steer clear because they fear what lies in wait beyond. Surely you know that much. The men don't deign to tell me how they were assigned to their roles. None of my business, I suppose. An overhead canopy. I don't even know, but I know that word, but I can't right now. Of leaves pass, allowing patches of sunlight to heat my scalp and cheek. The journey has been long and exhausting, but not altogether difficult. I'd even consider it idyllic, from its perpetual backdrop of birdsong and distantly running water. Any sense of leisure sinks and coils at the pit of my stomach as I realize the birds have gone silent, and the sound of water has risen into a dull roar. Before us is a murky disk of water, blemishes green with algae, miles long, miles wide, and a harrowingly uncertain depth. A jagged, ostentatious estate protruding from the ground like a sword through someone's back looms across the water's expanse. Not the first decrepit castle I've seen in my travels, but perhaps it may be the last. That's where I'll be staying then. Home sweet home. Scheißen. I've barely shone through a quarter of my restraints, but even if I make it a break for it now, they'd run me down on horseback. I tried it before, back when they marched me through the greater plains. They nearly trampled me into paste. Quiet down, you sorry lass. You may wish to take this time to consider your last words. That's not a bad idea. I could hit you with a real zinger before I go. The old god groans, mumbling a bitter prayer. I barely have time to hide the dagger before he dismounts and shoves me with more force than necessary. He loads me unceremoniously into a ramshackle little boat, leaving the pock-marked guard to deal with me while he tends to the horses. Oh, nice boat. My breath catches when the remaining guards takes the seat opposite to me. His gawky movements nearly makes the boat capsize before we've even left the shore. The boat cuts through algae like a knife. Over on dry land, the old cardinal takes a heavy seat on the grass as he watches the sun descend. is a more serene view than he deserves. I take a deep breath and open my mouth to shout. You overgrown prune. Oh god. Let's do overgrown prune, okay. The young god bites back a chuckle and clears his throat. I suppose he's freer to find revelry now that we're a safe distance away. As I warily crane my neck ahead, I observe how the water completely surrounds the estate. That makes this a moat. But this, curiously, isn't a drawbridge in sight. At its northeast and westward edges, the moat connects to a river. Following one side will likely lead one straight to the Rubicfian Ocean. It's quite lovely, really, to be surrounded by such a wealth of natural water. Shame I never learned how to swim. Real shame. I don't suppose I can persuade... No, I don't suppose can I persuade you to ferry me over yonder? All the way around the estate on the other side of the shore. The guard elects not to reply. He won't even look at me now. Aside from the oars carving through the water, the remaining boat ride is hushed and nerve-wracking. I sit up straight and stock still, trying to keep my weight centered, despite the stinging insects nipping at my neck and ankles. The sun turns red as it dips closer to the horizon. It takes half an hour to reach the other side, if not longer. Beyond the lip of the water is carved ledge with a pit of trenches surrounding the estate's perimeters. Ooh, nice. The guard wastes no time forcing me upright and pushing me off the side. I fall into a roll, barely cushioned by the impact of grassy mud. Okay, man, be a bit nicer. I aim myself back up with effort, ready to yell, the insult boiling at the tip of my tongue. To my spirit, the young guard is still up there. Yo, like, I thought this was supposed to have sound, you know? What does this mean? Text skipped, unread text. Sound setting, you see voice volume. Yeah, you see? I ain't hearing anybody's voices. I love how I'm like mad. To my surprise, the young guard is still up there, lingering at the edge. Missed me already? Hesitating doesn't make you better than him. Missed me already. I quirk my head to the side and bat my eyelashes at him. His response is slow and deliberate. I won't even remember you by tomorrow. Okay, rude. I hardly know you, convict. And you don't even know my name. Who needs names? We are two ships passing in the night, you and I. But it's not too late to change that. We can still run off into the sunset together. Come on, help me up. Silver tongue, I agree. With the sun setting behind the guardsman, his features are cast in an unreadable shadow. His fingers twitch and tap at his side. He casts an uneasy glance over his shoulder before finally he grumbles and rummages through his overcoat. From it he pulls out the neck of a familiar instrument and throws it onto the ground with me. I cry out as my lute lands in the mud, nearly falling onto my own shoulders as I reach and fail to catch it. You'll owe me in the next life, convict. I hope this accused thing provides you some comfort in your final moments. I glare up at him. Only old guy made you nervous, didn't he? All that talk about cutting off hands or for being underhanded? Shut up. I knew you were acting grumpy for a reason. I just knew it. You were gonna pawn off my poor little beauty here. But now you don't want to risk getting caught with it. Holla. He spits at me before he hurries away. I listen for the sound of the boat sloshing against the water and the creaks of the oars shortly thereafter. Now why is it that when people don't know how else to argue with a woman, they must remark on how frequently she does the deed, you know? With effort, I dislodge the dagger from the inside of my sleeve. It's still unwieldy, but cutting myself loose is a little easier when I don't need to hide the blade from my captors. Okay. I pick up my lute, carefully wiping off the dirt and grime before I check and adjust its strings. I holster it across my back where it belongs. It's thankfully intact. How's it on her back? You know? Like, there's nothing... Is it this? But there's nothing, you know... But I'm not sure I can say the same about myself. It's just a floating, you know, instrument right there. I know I need to come up with a plan. I need to explore and get familiar with my surroundings. Seek out a hiding spot while there's still daylight. But my entire body is aching. I won't get far if I push myself to move now. I check the inside of my clothes, the last of my possessions. Keep safe and hidden under the lining. I've never been more grateful to have learnt invisible stitching. That's good. A handful of coins in my songwriting journal are all I have left. I'd hidden a number of small blades on my person, but I was too reckless in my previous escape attempts. I kept getting caught and they confiscated all my knives. Okay. Nice. The guardsman's dagger isn't too shabby at least. I took the blade into my belt. Careful not to poke myself. I'll be ready to use it when it's dark. The ledge I fell from casts a long shadow. I edge away from it, into the remaining light, and I concentrate on taking deep, rejuvenating breaths. This creature of the night, I've heard it can change its very shape if it pursues me in the form of some animal. I doubt I can outrun it for long. It's wisest to save my strength so I can battle whatever form it takes. After all, I'm determined not to go down easily. Okay. Alright. Good on ya. To be fair, the chapters are so short. Dusk falls. There's barely a silver of apricot orange glowing across the horizon, which means my shelter of light dims and shrinks by the minute. I shiver as the evening cold burrows under my clothes, and I sense the vampire just moments before I hear it speak.
Well,
okay.
well, another gift.
That scared me. Okay. The creature's airy, serpentine voice moves around me as it prowls beyond the perimeter of remaining light. It's watching me, circling me like a vulture.
What grievous crimes you must have committed to be sent all the way here.
Voice is like so creepy. Well, it's not creepy, it's just like going through you. I draw my dagger, pointing it at the source.
Assessing your dinner, beast? Your mother should have taught you not to play with your food.
Lol. The voice lasps into a contemplative hum. My heart hammers against my ribs and I lose track of the vampire in the silence. I twist around, catching sight of its eyes, reflecting in moonlight right when it lunges. The vampire snatches me by the wrist, the skin on its dark, clawed hands bubble under the waning sunlight before it wenches me into the shadows. My dagger clatters to the ground.
You're talkative. I usually like it when they're talkative.
Creepy. I don't know if I like that voice, I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn... Wait, I can just like turn down my volume, right? I'm gonna change the sound settings and I'm gonna turn up the music a little bit. Yeah, I feel like that's good. Okay. Return.
But yours is an insolent nature.
Okay, rude.
No doubt you've ended up here by disrespecting some local authority.
She's like, how did you know? The vampire hoists my arm above our heads, positioning us face to face as he regards me. I scrutinize him in turn. He bears similarities to a human man, but I steal a glance upwards, observing his already healed hand with dismay.
You smell of chain rust, fresh soil, dried blood, and incense.
That's weird.
Yeah, I'm a big hit with nuns and orphans.
I mean, clearly. I don't... What am I doing? This isn't the time for banter. I struggle in his grasp. To be fair, man, like... I feel like this guy's probably not too bad, you know? He steps forward and we remain blanketed under the gloom of darkness. There's a small clatter underfoot as he drives his boot under my dagger, kicks it upright, and then snatches the blade out of air in a fluid motion. Cool. He twirls the dagger between his long fingers, appraising it.
Most unusual. Few of my guests managed to smuggle a means to escape their bond.
She had many that she lost.
If I had to wager, you must be a talented cut purse.
She's like,
Which wouldn't be the worst offense, all things considered.
Imagine she just starts saying a bunch, like a long line of every law she'd broken. She's like, yeah, manslaughter, attempted manslaughter. Wait, what's the one where it's like, it was like an accident. Wait, that might be manslaughter. But something. And then she's just like, yeah, I also do stealing on the side, you know. Gotta keep food for the family.
Stop manhandling me!
Okay, well, she's scared. With my free open palm, I smack him hard across the place and yank my captive hand free. Bruh, if I was I guess if you're panicking, but I would just be like, bruh, I ain't even. He flinches at the blow, looking more astonished than anything. I don't stay long enough to watch how he reacts next. Okay, so she does a runner, yeah? My lungs are heavy in my chest and my body is screaming at me to catch my breath, but I can't stop now. There's nothing I can use in my courtyard. My only what do you mean your courtyard? Where are you getting this courtyard from? My only choice is to head into the estate and hope to find a means of escape. Use in the car. I thought it said in my courtyard. Yeah, no. There's got to be a ladder or something I can use to scale that down the ledge. Then I just need to find something buoyant, like a wood panel or a door or something. Is the door buoyant? I ran down dizzying, identical hallways, you know, down several cavernous rooms, displaying dining chairs and overturning saloon and tables in my wake. But there's nothing I can use to escape, nothing I can narrow down in my panic. All the while, the vampire follows me with an even stride. He rubs his cheek with narrowed eyes. It's like, you know when you've like annoyed someone.
This is terribly tedious.
Okay.
No.
I mean, you would be terrified. He hasn't changed his shape, but I know how quickly he can pounce if I let him near. I can't let him get close. I topple a nearby cabinet, sending careening onto the floor between us. She's like destroying this man's house, and this man is just there like watching it happen. Like, bro, I wasn't mad before, but you've come into my home, slapped me, and then destroyed a bunch of antiques. The vampire makes a small offended noise amid the sound of crashing glass. I told you. The rudeness. Before he can react further, I seize a standing vase and hold it aloft, ready to throw.
Stop it.
He's like, that was
Calm
very
down.
expensive. Okay. You know what? That was imported. You know, that's authentic. I pivot my grasp on the lip of the vase, bending my arm menacingly. Water and flowers slosh onto the floor. Wow, she does not care what she grabs. The guy's like, oh, please stop my hobby. He's like, do you know how old that is?
You dare to tell me to calm down? Really?
He's just met you, okay? It should be the opposite way around right now, surely. There's an audible muffled sigh when the vampire steeples his hands in front of his
I
nose.
despise the chase. Look at this blasted mess.
I agree.
You realize no one else lives here? After you're gone, who do you think has to clean up the remains of your rampage?
I'm sorry. Are you criticizing the way I'm fighting for my life?
He's like, yes, I am. do it more cleaner, you know? Or if you're gonna do this, clean up after your son, you know?
You must understand, mortal. Despite what the good people of Illuvia bestial compulsion to take your life,
I wouldn't believe it either. She's
though
not
I'll
gonna
admit
care.
it sorely tempted me at the prospect of your demise. There is a civilized alternative worth considering.
Yeah. A civilized alternative to becoming a withered, bloodless corpse decorating his hallway. Do you see them anywhere else? Okay. I keep the vase aloft halfway between the willful rebellion and uncertain curiosity.
I'm listening.
Okay,
That is all I ask. First of all, this here.
go on. He dangles the dagger from between two fingers as if it's a dirty sock he found in my
As a
chambers.
show of good faith, I will return to you this nasty little thing.
Yeah.
In exchange, you will not stab me with it.
She's like, yeah, sure.
The blade is neither sharp nor long enough to kill me, but it will deeply annoy me. If I am deeply annoyed, I will be forced to rescind my good faith and tear you to shreds.
Nice. You know?
Understood?
Completely. I furrow my brows, but I nod. It makes sense. If I actually want to incapacitate him, I'd at least need a larger weapon. I'd yet to hear any myths where vampires are notoriously weak to standard cavalry daggers.
Good girl. Here.
He's a bit creepy, you know? Who says good girl? That's just weird. He tosses the dagger over to me. It slides along the floor until I stop it with the heel of my boot. I don't bend to pick it
The
up.
next matter at hand is the barter.
Yeah.
I've been known to spare and set my prisoners free in exchange for knowledge or for an item of substantial value.
And she's just destroyed.
Fortunately for you, I noticed the loot strapped to your back while you were racing through my abode.
Yeah. Oh no. I pivot my torso away, trying in vain to hide my instrument from sight.
Now, don't be selfish. Give it to me and you will have your freedom.
She's like, yo, can you play it though? Can
Your
you
life will
play
be
it?
yours again. Keep away from Illuvia and lay low for several years, and the crown will be none the wiser.
No.
Okay.
He's done this before.
What?
He's like, bro, you've just destroyed my house. I'm letting you live. For your instrument, okay? I've cared for it ever since I was a little girl. How can I possibly give it up
I
now?
can't give it to you. No. I nearly lost it once already.
Nothing is stopping you from purchasing a new one once you have your freedom. Certainly
Why don't
you'll
you
have to
buy
save up
one
for a
then?
while. I recognize the value of an average instrument, let alone how much an artisan lute must cost now after centuries of inflation. However, you will have plenty of chances to...
And then she's like, bruh.
No. I said I won't give it to you.
Why not?
Why is he angry at me? Hypocrite. I raise my voice to match his tone. I can't help it. I get competitive. This
You
woman.
imply me to be insensitive on the grounds of trampling through your home, but what about you? Demanding my only means of providing for myself.
Okay.
Only means nonsense. You're able-bodied, young, far from hideous. Once you have your freedom, I'm quite certain you'll figure something out.
She's like, no. Me only want to play. Me will only play.
Your venerable age must have impaired your hearing then, vampire, because I'm not sure if you quite caught it when I repeatedly said no. I
Oh my
am
god.
not giving it to you.
Fine. Then you're not leaving.
She's like, fine. He flings his hands skywards, turning and stalking towards the nearest window.
So you'll have fun rotting in here for the remainder of your brief and miserable existence, mortal. At which point you and I might have something in common.
He's like, I'll have your instrument then. Okay. He erupts into a vicious flurry of black mist. What? Okay. Once the smoke clears, I see the flapping outline of a bat soaring out of the window and into the night. I groan between gritted teeth, jostling the stupid face that I'm still holding over my head. As tempting as it is to smash it, I do not. I set it down good and began gathering the displaced flowers from with a dejected sigh. The blooms are vibrantly fresh and fragrant, but they're going to wilt without water. Gods, I just got into a screaming match with a vampire and upset him so much that he had to, I don't know, go take an angry nap. I'm still alive. I should really count this as a win, but I don't know. My chest is tight with apprehension. I wasn't supposed to annoy him. He said he'd rip me to shreds if I annoyed him. Damn it, god damn it. What have I... You see, like, it just doesn't talk in these moments, even though she's talking. I should have offered to barter with someone else. I doubt he'd be interested in the few coins I have, and I can't bear to part with my music, but he did mention an option to trade knowledge. Are you gonna teach him to play the instrument without an instrument? Like, even if he's had centuries to experience the world around us, surely there's an obscure nugget of wisdom I can impart. Maybe she could use her, like, invisible stitching. She's like, yeah, in case you need to, you know, hide anything on you, you know. I can teach this stitching method, you know, really cool. Really useful. Use it every day, truly. After all, I like to think that everyone I meet teaches me something new. Yeah, I agree. I'll have some leverage if I can figure out what he already knows. Okay. Just ask him. just try and figure out something. If I can't, then I need to find something else to protect myself. The dagger will be of little use aside from cutting rope. Well, we all know how this goes. She's gonna start, like, playing music for him, okay? Stray Dog Serenade. Noise. Night seems never-ending as I creep through the estate. The vampire hasn't shown himself since that earlier squabble, though his absence does little to assure my nerves. As any prey animal knows, the deadliest predator is one you don't see coming. Exhaustion weighs against my eyes, but adrenaline keeps me on edge, pulsing through my veins like a heavy drum. The slightest shift of wind-blown curtains make me jump. I keep expecting those moonlight eyes to be watching when I turn, but the shadows are always barren, devoid of vampires. Does he truly mean to sulk for the remainder of the night? I suppose I should count my blessings whilst I can. As I explore, I notice how each successive chamber is spotless and immaculately tidy, aside from the furniture I disturbed. Wow. Genius, which I take the time to straighten well done, you know? I uncover abundant of books crowding the shelves on various surfaces. They contain an array of technical topics, including geography, astronomy, invocation, and mathematics. They're all dog-eared and full of notes. Don't tell me he's read every book in the estate. I feel like he has. I can't panic yet. I can still narrow this down. Right, she's a convict, alright? And her only way of providing for herself is through music. Is she really gonna know astronomy and mathematics? I don't think so. I don't think this is narrowing down anything, okay? What were you gonna tell him? That there's lights? Bruh. Assuming he takes the time to clean his most frequented spaces, I ought to pay attention to what is and isn't covered in dust. Yet even locating a single cobweb presents a unique challenge. I set a book down, running my hand across the marble exterior of an engraved fireplace. Even this is pristine, unmarred by old ashes and licking flames. What happened to the music? Is it supposed to be creepy? The nearby fire iron, at least, is an encouraging sight. I pick it up to give it a gentle swing, testing the weight, and wince when my arm throbs in protest. I'll have to remind myself to use my non-dominant hand. The fire iron has a dull tip that's unlikely to pierce skin, but a decisive strike should send anyone reeling, even a mortal creature of the night. Okay, I mean, like, I feel like anyone would be looking for instruments to attack someone, but yeah, she's really trying her hardest. Of course, pissing him off by whacking him in the head is a last resort. Good on you. I'm glad that's the last resort. I'm more interested in jabbing the fire iron into the ledge outside and using it as a handhold to climb my way up. Wait, he has a fire on? I don't think he does. The idea may sound absurd, but it could work. I won't know until I try. Although, even if I successfully scale the ledge, I'd still have to defeat the moat somehow. My gaze wanders across the chambers. If someone is wealthy enough to build a castle, they usually enjoy surrounding themselves with larger-than-life portraits. One would think that I'd have found a big enough painting to pry it off the wall. Hasn't she only been in like 2 rooms? But the decor is tragically modest. As I move to lower my arms, a golden glint reflects off the dark metal of the fire iron. I pivot my shoulder with cautious hope. The thin rays of dawn light gleams through the drawn curtains. My body practically moves on its own. I march to the window and wrench the curtains open. Morning daylight fills the chambers. I'd never been happier to see the sun peeking over the mountains like an old friend. Though the moment the curtains shift, a small beige shape moves with it across the floor. A rat? I hate rats. I've always been scared of them. When I hop away from the shape, I observe how it doesn't continue to move. I bend to inspect it